February 2013. In the macroscopic sprawl of Los Angeles, morning commuters filter onto sunlit highways to start their day. But just a few miles away, a grim and entirely different reality was unfolding. Looming over downtown is the Cecil Hotel. Built nearly a century ago, this 14-story brick structure had steadily devolved from a glamorous destination into a notorious site for suicides, overdoses, and unexplained deaths. Its corridors also harbored violent predators. In the 1980s, the Cecil served as a base for Richard Ramirez, the serial killer who would return to his room covered in blood after a night of attacks. The danger extended far past the lobby doors. The hotel sat directly adjacent to Skid Row, a heavily concentrated district struggling with severe poverty, open drug use, and unpredictable street violence. To cross the threshold of the Cecil Hotel was to step directly from the modern, vibrant city into an isolated zone of historical trauma and present-day peril. Into this environment walked Elisa Lam. She was a 21-year-old university student from Canada with a deep affection for literature and art. On her blog, she openly documented her hopes, her anxieties, and her desire to see the world. In January 2013, she embarked on a solo West Coast trip. Against her parents' worries, she checked into the Cecil, agreeing to a strict condition: she would call them every single day to confirm she was safe. At first, she shared a hostel-style room. Within 48 hours, her behavior shifted. She began locking her roommates out and leaving them bizarre written notes, prompting the hotel management to move her into a private room. On January 31st, her parents waited by the phone. The daily call never came. Checks with the front desk confirmed her belongings were in her room, but Elisa was gone. The young traveler's excitement had abruptly given way to total silence, instantly escalating a vacation into a frantic cross-border search. The Los Angeles Police Department swept the building. Officers and canine units scoured the hallways, the basement, and the roof. They found her laptop and ID in her room, but absolutely zero physical trace of where she went next. 2 weeks later, desperate for a lead, the LAPD released a 4-minute security video from one of the hotel's elevators. It was the last known sighting of Elisa, and it immediately gripped the globe. The footage is deeply unsettling. Elisa enters, presses an array of buttons, and then cowers in the corner. She cautiously steps out, gestures wildly into the empty hallway as if communicating with someone, all while the elevator doors inexplicably refuse to close. Millions analyze the video frame by frame. Web forums exploded with speculation, suggesting everything from an unseen stalker pursuing her down the hall to supernatural entities taking control of the elevator's mechanics. The LAPD had no answers. In that vast information vacuum, the internet eagerly constructed a highly sensationalized fiction. 19 days after she vanished, the physical reality of the hotel demanded attention. Guests began calling the front desk to complain that the tap water had lost pressure, carried a foul odor, and was running a faint brown. Maintenance worker Santiago Lopez was dispatched to the roof to check the hotel's primary water supply, a row of 4 large 1,000-gallon metal tanks floating in the water. The discovery sent a wave of horror through the building as hundreds of guests realized they had been bathing in and drinking that contaminated water for nearly 3 weeks. Finding Elisa did not provide closure. It only compounded the mystery, presenting investigators with the seemingly impossible physics of how a young woman accessed an alarmed roof, scaled a heavy tank, and ended up inside. The grim reality of the roof quickly mutated into wilder online speculation. Conspiracies surrounding her death reached a fever pitch. At the time, a tuberculosis outbreak was spreading through the adjacent Skid Row. Coincidentally, the primary screening test for the disease was named Lam Elisa. Theorists twisted this medical anomaly into an elaborate plot involving biological weapons and government assassination. Others pointed to the 2005 horror film Dark Water. The film features a girl named Cecilia found in a rooftop water tank after residents complain about black water. To many, the similarities felt too precise to be chance. This is the mechanics of digital myth-making. A vast community of online sleuths had stripped away the humanity of a grieving family's daughter, reducing her final days to an interactive true crime puzzle. These cinematic narratives offered a strange comfort. A coordinated cover-up or a supernatural curse is often emotionally easier to digest than the terrifying randomness and fragility of real life. Months later, the Los Angeles County coroner released the final autopsy report. The ruling was accidental drowning. There were no signs of physical trauma, sexual assaults, or illegal drugs in her system. The report highlighted a crucial piece of context that the internet had largely ignored. Elisa Lam suffered from severe bipolar disorder and was not taking the proper dosage of her prescribed medication. Medical experts explain that severe manic episodes can trigger profound paranoia and auditory hallucinations. This aligns perfectly with the elevator footage. She was reacting to terrifying threats that only existed in her mind. Her missing clothing also has a physiological explanation. When trapped in freezing water, the body can experience paradoxical undressing, a response where severe hypothermia confuses the brain, causing the victim to feel burning hot and strip off their clothes. The lingering anomalies that fueled the conspiracies have grounded explanations. The altered time code on the video was a standard privacy edit by the hotel, and her phone was simply lost, not confiscated as part of a cover-up. Elisa Lam was not the victim of a serial killer or a supernatural entity. Her death was a devastating consequence of severe mental illness, highlighting a society far more eager to chase a ghost story than to extend basic empathy to the vulnerable people living right in front of them.